We've all been there. A brand new game comes out with state-of-the-art graphics, a compelling single-player campaign, and competitive multiplayer. Then you check the specs. The game is great, but your computer isn't powerful enough to play it. Don't despair. There are plenty of great games out there that'll run just fine on almost any machine, your underpowered PC included.
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. If I push it any harder, the whole thing will blow.
Stardew Valley. It may not have all the detailed 3D environments of modern-day Harvest Moon games, but Stardew Valley doesn't need them. Developed entirely by one person, Stardew Valley is stuffed full of content rendered in simple but lovely 16-bit style graphics. Developing the game in 3D probably would have been impossible, but the game's pixel art was easier to produce. That meant developer Eric Barone could devote more time to the things that make the experience extra special, like the nuanced farming system, the delightful characters, and the world's many, many mysteries. The presentation might be simple, but Stardew Valley is a sprawling and complex world any computer can run. Jazzpunk. A cyberpunk espionage story, Jazzpunk stars secret agent Polly Blank, who works for a top-secret spy organization. His missions are absurd and nonsensical, including stealing a cowboy's mechanical kidney, smuggling pigeons, and facing off against Jazzpunk's big bad in a high-stakes mini-golf match. The game barrages players with non-sequiturs, subtle pop culture references, and a healthy dose of absurdist humor. The developers carefully honed and tweaked each joke in order to wring out the maximum number of laughs. As a result, Jazzpunk is hilarious, and its low-budget, anything-goes vibe has a lot to do with that.
Flashback.
No! 80 Days. In 80 Days, a whimsical take on Jules Verne's classic novel, players must navigate a journey around the globe as quickly and cheaply as possible. Every stop along the way has its own characters to meet and mysteries to unravel, and it's easy to get distracted and completely blow your deadline. 80 Days developers estimated that players would only discover about 3% of the game's content during a single playthrough. Thankfully, replaying the adventure is a pleasure, not a chore. Not only does the game have many adventures to discover, but the 750,000 word script sings. After all, there's a reason why The Telegraph named 80 Days one of the best novels of 2014, and why it won the Writers Guild of Great Britain's Video Game Award that same year.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
Owlboy. The artwork might be lo-fi, but Owlboy is simply gorgeous and almost entirely handmade. There aren't any post-processing effects propping things up. While the game's developers toiled away during the game's 9-year development period, critics and players alike salivated over the tantalizing, colorful screenshots, dreaming of the day when they could finally take Owlboy to the skies. During the game, Owlboy never speaks, but his expressive and smooth animations tell players everything they need to know about the game's mute hero. Plus, the complex background art reveals subtle clues regarding Owlboy's past, at least if you're paying attention.
Willem, what exactly are you doing?
Looking for the hidden picture.
If you stare at these things long enough, you're supposed to see some kind of hidden three-dimensional picture.
Sonic Mania. Craving a decidedly old-school game? Sonic Mania is for you. It doesn't have the visual panache of its modern counterpart, Sonic Forces, and you won't find extra features like a custom character creator or a meme-inspired t-shirt. What you will get, however, is a creative, speedy platformer that recalls Sonic's earliest days, when his supporting cast was still small and his world was still two-dimensional. Like Sonic's original Genesis outings, Sonic Mania doesn't need a supercomputer to run, yet the game is still full of pits to leap over, traps to avoid, rings to collect, and obstacles to speed around. Honestly, what more could a Sonic fan want? Axiom Verge. A sci-fi action-adventure that leans heavily on exploration and discovery, Axiom Verge is a lot like the classic Nintendo game which inspired it, Super Metroid. This title is full of secrets to discover and cool and innovative gadgets to use. The world and enemy design are fantastic and dripping with moody sci-fi elements throughout. Coupled with some dangerously clever boss fights, Axiom Verge comes close to surpassing its inspiring predecessor. Axiom Verge wrings as much atmosphere out of the basic tech as possible. Good art design is timeless, and this action-adventure can prove that on any machine made in the last few years. Cuphead. One glance and you know, Cuphead looks amazing. Whether or not you're a fan of the playful, raunchy, and chaotic 1930s cartoons that inspired the game, you can't deny that nothing in modern gaming looks quite like this. But here's the secret. Cuphead's graphics aren't actually that hard on your system. Of course, the hand-drawn characters were difficult for the developers to bring to life, but in terms of what's actually happening while you play, Cuphead isn't much more complicated than other classic side-scrollers. That means that this platformer will run well on your underpowered rig, removing any and all obstacles toward enjoying one of 2017's best games, aside from your own lack of skill, of course.
900,000! You gonna bust the record!
Undertale. With charming but simple graphics and combat that combines turn-based strategy with fast-paced bullet hell sequences, Undertale won't turn many heads. In fact, the entire game was made with RPG Maker, a low-tech game platform that's often associated with cheap, poorly made products. Despite that, Undertale manages to do something that other, bigger-budget RPGs didn't: radically change the genre and challenge conventions left and right. This title is so innovative, strange, and different that it sparked an entirely new, dedicated fandom. Figuring out how to get through the game without killing anyone or anything can be a massive challenge. And if you mess up and decide to start over, Undertale remembers what you did before and changes the story accordingly. A Hat in Time. It's pretty rare to find a 3D platforming game on PC, never mind a good one, and A Hat in Time is just as quirky and weird as you'd hope. Graphically, A Hat in Time is a lot smoother than Super Mario 64. Meanwhile, its twisted world infuses elements from Psychonauts and Doctor Who with other genre tropes to create something that feels both familiar and strange. Best of all, A Hat in Time is built on the same engine as Unreal Tournament 3, a game that's over a decade old. Simply put, you can play this game, and you probably should.
Shut up and take my money!
Thanks for watching. Click the SVG icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.